Hi, I'm Melissa Yingst Huber. I am a proud deaf Latinx woman. I haven't always been a proud deaf Latinx woman. I am half Latina from my mother's side. They are from Guadalajara, Mexico. And even though I was born and raised very close to my mom's side of the family in Southern California, I did have that Mexican heritage and exposure to that culture, but I didn't really have a sense of pride in that identity initially. I think a big reason for that is because my deaf identity always came first. I went to a mainstream school and I didn't really have many other Latinx friends, and so I never had that strong sense of identity for that part of myself. When I went to Gallaudet, I met more Latinx people and I really enjoyed that interaction. But it was always more superficial enjoyment, like some of the cultural traditions, some of the food, some of the holidays, and that was about it. Just about a few years ago, I think it was the biggest change in my life moving here to Phoenix. 90% of the students at Phoenix Day School for the Deaf, PDSD, are Latinx. I was able to see myself in many of those students. I developed an instant connection with them. I felt like we had many shared experiences, and I hadn't really embraced that part of my identity for such a long time. Maybe in some ways I had oppressed that part of my identity and thought that it wasn't as important a part of myself. My grandmother, who I've always been very close with, one of the biggest influences in my life, was a Latina woman, and she passed away a few years ago. That had a significant impact on me. When she was getting toward the end of her life, I started to really value the knowledge and the traditions that she had brought into my family, and I felt obligated to preserve those traditions, like the foods, even the little things like lighting candles and prayers and different things that she valued. I wanted to continue those traditions to keep her memory alive. That was the second turning point for me. The third was meeting more and more deaf Latinx adults. I'm starting to see their sense of pride in their identity, and that exposure over time really caused me to immerse myself more in that culture. I'm still on my journey, and I'm still learning new things every day about myself as a Latina woman. That's why I was really excited to become part of Council de Manos. This is the sign for the organization, and the sign comes from the word manos, meaning hands. So they created this sign to represent the organization. Through that organization, I saw they were becoming more and more recognized on social media, and in some ways, looking back, I did see some of the stories that were shared by Council de Manos, and that probably had a bigger influence on my life than I realized at the time. It made me more curious about learning about myself as a Latina woman. I became involved with Council de Manos after meeting more and more people who were involved on the board and talking about their experiences and their stories, which had a significant impact on me. That inspired me to become involved in one of the committees. Currently, we're working on planning a Latina Deaf Women's Retreat, so I've become involved with that, and an opportunity recently arose for me to become involved on the board as well as Director of Media Relations. So I took that opportunity. I felt like it was a perfect time on my journey as I'm developing a stronger Latinx identity. So I took advantage of that. It's all about seizing opportunities as they come. It's only been a month and I've already learned so much from the board. At a national level, we have a variety of programs and services. Our mission is to end injustice in our community, which includes deaf, deafblind, deaf-disabled, hard of hearing, and late deafened Latinx individuals. We want to see all of them achieve that sense of self-fulfillment in their identities as Latinx people. To do that, currently we are promoting the hashtag C5KnowYourStory, where we really welcome people to share their experiences and their journeys. Journeys vary depending on the person, and they may not always be beautiful, but we welcome those raw, real stories as an opportunity to educate each other and learn from each other. We want them to be able to embrace their identity, and we hope to help a lot of other people to develop their sense of identity like I have. Some of the services we provide include distributing Manos magazine. The first issue we distributed recognized many deaf leaders who are Latinx. We had different features like a deaf artist, deaf leaders, and a variety of other people. The second issue is coming out very soon. We also do seminars. We travel and give workshops and presentations on a variety of topics. Soon we will start doing webinars as well, so we're really looking forward to that. We also host a youth leaders retreat for high school students. Typically that's offered every 2 years on both the West Coast and the East Coast to give students an opportunity to get together. We're also working on establishing what we're calling Manos Institute, which would offer a variety of programs. The goal is to offer more programs that can focus on services for different populations, including senior citizens, CODAs, LGBT individuals, women, and a variety of other groups as well. So we're looking forward to that. That's essentially what we're doing on a national level, and we do most of our promotion through social media. We share video logs and posts about upcoming events in the Latinx community. On a local level, we have 11 community partners in different states throughout the country. Phoenix has what's called Manos de Phoenix, and we're encouraging organizations to set up more chapters on a local level as well. Manos de Phoenix really very recently started in the spring, and I'm hoping to see that continue to grow. That community can include you as well, so please join us. Another way that we're reaching out to individuals in the community is hosting a large conference every 2 years. The next one will be October 2017 in LA, California. We're going to celebrate our culture, learn from speakers and stories, and have a variety of events. We will also be hosting board retreats a few times a year. We try to host the board retreats in areas where there is a school for the deaf. We've had one in New Mexico and one in Fremont, California as well. Those were very positive experiences where our board had the opportunity to become immersed in the local community. We were able to go into some of the classes and sign stories with the kids. We were also able to host a parent panel and interact with some of the parents of deaf Latinx students in those areas. And we want them to have a lot of exposure to what's available for their children. We also hosted a high school panel, which was an opportunity for high school students to develop their sense of identity as they saw various Latinx role models. I was asked to share my Council de Manos story, and the first thing I thought of was it has to be something related to my grandmother and food. Food is a very important part of our culture. Anything related to food guaranteed is going to be associated with good memories and good stories that are fun to share. My grandma was famous for her rice. Really, she had it with everything. She never measured anything. She just was able to create on the spot these wonderful dishes, and it was always made with love, and it was delicious every time she made it. One time I wanted to make grandma's rice, and I tried to measure and follow a recipe, and it really wasn't very good. It would either be too soggy or too hard. So one day, I wanted to watch my grandmother make it with her measurements, and my grandma laughed it off. She said, "I don't measure anything." Like I said, grandma wouldn't use measuring cups. She would just grab a handful of rice and throw it in the pot. So after she did that, I took a measuring cup and put her rice in a measuring cup and wrote everything down, tried to follow the measurements precisely as she made her rice. So then I tried it, following the measurements, and really it didn't come out very good. But when I tried it her way, and I was spontaneous, I used my hands, I didn't use measuring cups, I just used my intuition, it came out really good. So every time I cook, I always think that I need to throw the rules out the window and be like my grandma, follow my intuition. So that's one of my favorite stories. If you want to know more about Council de Manos, go to our website, www.councildemanos.org, or we're very active on our Facebook page as well. We have a Facebook account called Council de Manos, so take a look there for updates and upcoming events. We're also working on expanding our use of Twitter and Instagram as well. Follow us on social media.